news. Thanks. Regular news and communication that goes out to people, and really our mission is to inform residents, to have discussion, and then build neighborhood community. So we're not a homeowners association. We are not an advocacy group. We really serve all residents, students, businesses that are here within the boundaries, and our meetings are open to anyone. We're open to get more people to come out, and it's a good way to communicate with the city about issues that are important to us. Like I said, we don't really vote or speak on behalf of the neighborhood as a whole. We're not trying to advocate for certain positions, but at the same time, we do provide a forum for residents to organize themselves if they're interested in specific issues and want to do advocacy stuff. This is the place to organize that and go off and talk to city staff and leadership who are here oftentimes at these meetings. So do encourage that, although we're not going to be, like voting on stuff and signing on stuff as a neighborhood in general. Let's see a little bit about me. So I'm Cameron Matthews. I'm the chair, as I just talked about. I live on the 500 block of King temporarily while we're renovating our house on Jetter on the 400 block. My kids are in 1st and 5th grade at Orion Elementary, which is previously the John Gill campus, which is just on Myrtle, the other side of the just on the border of our neighborhood. I grew up in Mountain View and moved here in 2013. I do a lot of youth sports coaching, so I'm on the fields all the time, using Red Morton, using the other parks and facilities and stuff. I helped coach the baseball team at Sequoia High School for a number of years also. Now I'm just focused on my own kids, but that's all to say that I'm of course not a neutral party in all this. I have my own interests and things. My kids being around the neighborhood and stuff that's associated with that. In my role, I'm trying my best to kind of, be a neutral party and just facilitate discussion and stuff. But those are sort of that's my background, and my particular interest would be in here in this role is helping, my family and my kids have the best neighborhood experience that they can. Let's see what else. So if people want to help bring sort of a diversity of other opinions and other viewpoints within the neighborhood, I would love that, especially if people are wanting to get involved and bring some of those other perspectives to the neighborhood. That would be fantastic. What does neighborhood association do? We run events. So a few weeks ago we did National Night Out over at Stafford Park. Hopefully we'll get one more annual event on the calendar that we can just get together as neighborhood barbecue kind of thing, just for people to meet their neighbors, talk about local stuff. Meetings, we're going to try to do these on a quarterly cadence, bring city staff out, school district staff, other folks to talk about issues that are relevant to this neighborhood, and newsletter and social media, get stuff out to neighbors that is relevant, that the city puts out, but amplify that and sort of get stuff that's specific to the neighborhood out to folks, and then recruiting and outreach to get more people involved. So that's enough about me, I think. I want to hand it over to Malahat from the city in just a second. Our main topic for tonight is transportation projects that are in and around Mount Carmel. There are a number of projects that have gone through sort of the initial planning or pilot stage and are now in the design phase and are scheduled for construction in the next year or two. So now's really the time for us to start providing feedback as a community. So we have Malahat Orwang from the transportation department here, who's going to be giving a brief update on a few projects that are sort of in and around Mount Carmel. Those are the Jefferson Avenue Traffic Safety Improvement Project, which is scheduled for next year, El Camino Real and James Avenue intersection improvements, El Camino Real bike lanes, southbound from Brewster Avenue to Madison, and then the Laurie Duncan Park pilot, which is just outside of our border, but I know relevant to a lot of folks in the neighborhood. In addition, we've got San Mateo County Safe Routes to School, who's here with us tonight, who's going to talk a little bit about two recent walk audits that they conducted in the spring. One for James Avenue that serves North Star, MIT, Redeemer, Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and Sequoia High School, and a second for the Orion School, which is, and the relevant surrounding streets from Myrtle, Jefferson, Harrison, and those streets over there. And so our window to provide feedback on these is coming up pretty soon here, and so it's important to understand what these schedules are and how we interface with the city and make sure that things that are important to us as a neighborhood get conveyed to the folks who are doing the planning. So I'm going to hand it over to Malahat. Malahat, can you do you have a presentation that you want to put up, or would you like me to just cycle?
I do. Can I share my screen?
Yes. Why don't you take over? I'll stop sharing and you take over.
Okay. Let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Thanks.
Okay.
Oh,
yes.
Let me share. Hang on a second. You're sharing. Let me drag this over to the other screen. Thank you.
Good.
Good.
Okay. Let me turn on my. Do you see my video? Do you see my video or no?
Yeah.
No.
We just see a screen that says transportation updates August 27th.
Somebody needs
Okay,
to
that's fine.
click OK on
Hi everybody, my name is Malahat Orwang. I'm Principal Transportation Planner with Redwood City Engineering Department. We are one of the divisions in engineering department with about 10 staff who are involved in various types of transportation related topics. Tonight I'm going to give you an update about 4 projects that are around Mount Carmel neighborhood and is very related, and it may impact your neighborhood. The first one is Jefferson Avenue Traffic Safety Improvement Project. The project was few years ago when we did the city's bike and pedestrian plan. This project was #1 community requested project. And we received many comments from the community for better crossings and pedestrian improvements. County did some analysis on, County Office of Education did some analysis on the collision throughout the county, and Jefferson was one of the high injury networks in Redwood City. Jefferson was due for a pavement overlay, and city decided to combine the project with safety improvements. So now it became a very large project, and we decided to start it from planning phase, where we did some traffic studies, and we did first round of community meeting end of April. At the meeting, I don't know how many people from your neighborhood attended, but basically what we did, we came up with 3 different scenarios and proposed that to people. Jefferson right now has 2 travel lanes in each direction, with parking allowed on both sides. It does not have any dedicated bike lane. So bike lane is something we call it SHARO, which means shared with vehicles. Jefferson is, after El Camino and Woodside, probably is the 3rd in terms of carrying vehicle capacity. It carries about 18,000 to 20,000 cars on average per day. When we did presented these 3 scenarios to the community at the first meeting, and After that, I received many, many emails, still receiving lots of emails from community and hearing their feedback. We decided to eliminate alternative number two. So I'll go through these three alternatives. Alternative one, what we presented is the base. No matter what, we do this alternative, and that includes crossing improvements at the intersections. No change in the travel lanes or parking. Alternative two included adding bike lane, improving pedestrian at crossings again. Um, but in order for us to keep the travel lanes and have both bike and pet facility, we have to remove on-street parking. And as you know, there are many homes with their driveway on Jefferson. So that was something that we heard very loud from the community, that especially people who live on Jefferson, they don't like this scenario. Alternative three is a scenario that we keep the parking, we add bike facility, and then one lane of travel in each direction will be removed. There will be one center turning lane, but each direction is going to have one travel lane. This will definitely benefit bikes. Residents can keep parking at the front of their home. It helps with traffic safety because right now there are lots of intersections that when people want to do left turn, they block the traffic behind them. It helps better with traffic flow. But in order for us to do that, we had to run all this design with our fire department and get there okay. So at this point, they're okay generally with alternative one and alternative three. Um, so this is what we're working on based on these two alternatives. We are planning to come back to the community on October 8th. The meeting will be in person. It's at Veterans Memorial Senior Center where you are right now, to present the community more advanced design of alternative one and alternative three. At the same time, the project is very expensive project. Our cost estimate right now is about $7 million, and we are applying for a grant through the San Mateo County Transportation Authority for a $4 million grant. And one of the reasons is when we did the outreach, and we knew that from a few years ago that there needs to be more full traffic signal or pedestrian beacons along the corridor. And one of the items of this project that escalates the project cost are adding signals. Um, so that's a little bit about the project. I did ask Cam and other neighborhood associations in the area to give us support letter for our grant application. This is a very important project for us, and our goal is to start the construction in early 2027. It's a long process to do the community outreach, come up with a design that majority of people like it and agree on it. There's so many different opinions about the project, and then move forward with the project. So the project is going to be a safety improvement project plus pavement overlay. And the extent of the project is from El Camino Real all the way to Farm Hill Boulevard. The next update I have is intersection safety improvement on El Camino Real and James. This is one of our what we call it Vision Zero locations. Um, Vision Zero locations are the locations that we identified as high priority for safety improvement. Unfortunately, we did have pedestrian fatality at this intersection. It is close to Caltrain, close to high school. You live in Redwood City, you know how busy this intersection is. So city did use local funds to start a design for the project. We completed the design and we received about 1.3 million from Transportation Authority through the Measure A sales tax, Measure A and W sales tax for construction phase of this project. Currently, what we are doing, we are getting encroachment permit from Caltrans. Caltrans owns El Camino Real, so any changes we do on Caltrans, it requires their permit. Um, and the intersection doesn't the changes we are doing as part of this project is very focused on how the whole intersection operates. Right now, the left turn from James to El Camino and pedestrians go at the same time, and that was one of the reasons um, for collisions between pedestrian and cars. And as part of this project, we are changing the whole signal system so they don't go at the same time, and it includes adding more masked arms and adding more equipment to handle the whole operation of the intersection. So it's very focused on improving the pedestrian crossing and operation of the intersection. And our goal is to do the construction in 2026. Again, this is fully funded. We're just getting permit from the state for the construction. The third project, which everybody is asking about this, so just give you a background about 7 8 years ago, City Council approved a plan. We call it El Camino Real Corridor Plan, and it covered El Camino Real um, from southern city border to the northern city border. And the plan is available in the city's website, and it has some concepts how to improve El Camino Real to be more multimodal and um, be more bicycle and pedestrian friendly. Um, so that was a very high level conceptual plan. Then a few years ago, city did a process named People's Budget, and that was a 1 million budget that people voted how to use it. One of the 3 or 4 candidate projects the community chose was El Camino Real bike lane. So that what you see on El Camino Real right now, northbound from Maple to Jefferson, is the project that was voted and budgeted through people's budget. Um, After that, there was a desire to add bike lane on more blocks in Redwood City. So we do have a city council subcommittee. We call it Transportation and Mobility Subcommittee. It is very focused on transportation. We took this item multiple times to to the committee, and the suggestion and direction was to start implementing lower cost bike lanes on El Camino Real on easier blocks to test it out. So this is what you see on the screen is another bike lane. This time it is southbound. We purposely picked easier blocks. It starts from Brewster. It ends around Vera Madison. We did traffic studies for it. We did parking studies and parking counts. We took the item to our transportation advisory committee several times and redid the design based on the comments we received. So what you see right now on the screen, I know it's very engineering design, but it is basically a buffered bike lane. It has dashed that at the areas that there's a driveway bar, but for this segment of bike lane on El Camino Real, our goal is to actually add some sort of separation with delineators wherever possible. Right now, this is 100% design, and again, we are in the process of encroachment permit from Caltrans. All this said, Caltrans, who owns El Camino Real, has a bike safety project. Um, it starts from border of Atherton all the way to Brewster. It's a very long-term project. It's their current budget is about $14 million, and basically it's going to make a permanent separated cycle track on El Camino Real on both sides. That means removal of parking. They're currently in their environmental phase. And their estimate for construction is probably close to 2030. So we really like to test that bike lane with lower cost materials and easier blocks few years before Caltrans does their project. So that's an update on this project. Our goal for construction is 2026. The project is fully budgeted. Again, this is a low cost bike improvement project, so it's fully budgeted as of 2 months ago, where our city council approved the new budget. And the last project I wanted to do an update is the Laurie Duncan Park. We call it a pilot project. There has been lots of requests and communication in the past 10-15 years um, to make this area that you see on the map, make it a park. So my understanding is our park department did outreach a few times and we ended up not moving forward with the project. This time, because of the traffic safety concerns, we decided to test it out and see what if we close it with temporary materials and how it actually impacts the traffic in the area and how people may like it. So this is a project again is completely led by our park department, but they keep me in the loop. So what we did a few months ago, you probably noticed all those orange water barricade that closed Southgate Street. Our goal was really to do a before after traffic count to see the traffic pattern after the change. And at the same time, Park Department did a survey to see how people who use this area and live around like the closure. So this is what our Parks Department sent me. About 300-400 people responded to the survey, and lots of people actually like the area to be closed permanently. Sorry if the numbers are very small. I can send the presentation later to you. So after the feedback we received from the community and the survey that Parks Department did, and after we did receive the traffic counts, one reason that some community members didn't like it because there was a perception that it may redirect traffic to their street into inner circle and those streets, which our traffic counts, which we did after the closure, shows. I have the number. Only 52 cars on average per day go from Brewster and go to inner circle. What that means is just the residents who live on that street. So we didn't see any significant change in the traffic pattern or redirection of traffic. At this point, we haven't made a final decision what we want to do, but currently it needs a public hearing process to close out the street. And the proposal is probably to remove the water barricade, close it with delineators, and have that and use that area in between the two green areas, the pink area, for different purposes. Put some playground structure, whatever Parks Department. Their goal is to change whatever activity inside that closed area to see what fits it better. And then the long-term goal is to actually create a large capital project and budget it to make it completely to a park. That means when it becomes a park, there needs to be connections. There needs to be street improvements around it. There needs to be better crosswalks and curb ramps, so it's a safe connection through the neighborhood to the park. So that is why it's going to be a large capital projects, which is basically building a new park and having transportation improvements around it. So that's the status. We are still working with our legal team to see what the best process is. But this is what we're thinking in terms of next step. This was my last slide. Now, if anyone have any question, I'm here to answer as much as possible. Thank you.
There's some background noise, so I don't know what I referred to.
Is Malahat, I do remember you saying that there was maybe fire had to weigh in on whether alternative 3 was feasible from their perspective. Was there somebody else as well, or was that the comment?
Are we muted? Can she hear us?
We're unmuted, but Cam, you're muted on your computer, so maybe.
Well, I don't think Malahat can hear my
Malahat,
question.
can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Did you hear the question that Cam just asked?
No, can you repeat it?
Could you repeat?
Yeah, I'll repeat. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So Adrian had asked if there was a comment about option 3, alternative 3 on the Jefferson project needing some kind of additional approval or waiting on that. And I said that I seem to remember that it might have been the fire department. You're waiting for fire's input on alternative 3, whether that's feasible. Was that it, or was there somebody else?
No, it is fire department. We usually run all our projects with fire department to make sure they can actually maneuver around our changes. But Jefferson was very important because there is a firehouse, a station there, and it is one of their major response routes. So it was with fire department. And it was okay with them, and the reason is they still have that center turning lane empty and majority of the corridor to use on emergency situations. We did make some changes at the intersection design based on the fire department feedback because when they need to go, they really need to like turn left or go where they need to go. But yeah, it was just fire department, and that's our usual process for all our traffic projects.
Great. Yeah.
Hi, Malahat. This is Mark from Jenner Street. Can you hear me?
Yes, but Cam may have to repeat it, but I can hear you.
Mark's coming up to.
Hi, can you hear me better?
Yes.
Okay, thanks for coming. I have a question about option 3. Has there been a study on what happens to traffic on side streets? So the 18 to 20,000 a day, presumably that gets reduced when we go from 4 to 2 lanes. Do we know where that traffic goes or how much?
The traffic stays on Jefferson. Yes, we did traffic studies. The impact will be at the intersections, more on the main, like the in between mid blocks. But it is definitely going to impact the congestion at the intersections. For example, the Hudson intersection, which has a signal, it's going to have delay. And the plan at this point is for us to add a new signal at Velota. So there is going to be more delay at the intersections because of the volume of the vehicles. But it is just a decision that community needs to make and make that balance, because the right of way is very limited, and you definitely cannot fit everything in a very limited space. So that is why we are coming for the second time to the community on October 8th. But yes, there is going to be delay at the intersections.
Thank you. For what it's worth, in my experience, I live 2 streets up from Hudson, and when that light goes and traffic starts to back up, people just turn. And you can watch them turn on to Jetter and Iris. So when you see that, these traffic calming measures, it tends to push traffic around sometimes more than we'd like. So I'll definitely be there on the 8th, but maybe something to consider in your further studies, looking at what's going to happen to Harrison, Iris, Jetter, the other sides of Jefferson. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Malahat, thank you so much. Well, I'll make sure to send out a notice about the meeting on the 8th as well to the larger neighborhood association, and yeah, looking forward to it. I can also send out links to the full studies or the different alternatives I think that you have posted on the website for the project as well.
Yes, it is on the project web page.
Okay, great. Those are all up to date, I take it, with the changes that, like the minor changes and stuff that Fire asked for, or is it the same ones that we saw in the April meeting?
It is the same one you saw at the April meeting. We are still working on the design for the second round of public meeting, and our goal is actually to have that design in the next few weeks because we are submitting that as a crossbar grant application on September 12th. So design will be ready, but probably the larger community will see it on October 8th.
Malahat, it's Adrian Brandt. One other question on the James project. Is it possible for the city to get some more control over the street lights that light that intersection at night? I've reported to Caltrans. It's much more difficult than using the My Redwood City app, but I've reported to Caltrans. They've acknowledged that there was a problem. They fixed it, and then it got dim again. And my concern is it's just be helpful if the city could. It's so easy to use My Redwood City, and the city's so responsive. If some way, as part of this project, I know you said it's funded, maybe it's fully cooked, but it would be great if those lights, the street lighting for those intersections could, all of the intersections really could be under Redwood City's control if you could work out a deal.
I mean, I wish we could, but yeah, let me talk to the project engineer. Maybe there is a possibility that we can add it to this project. Just the lighting, right? Just the brightness.
Yeah, just the maintenance. They're just really bad. They're bad at keeping on top of when they're dim or if they break. It takes them forever.
Yeah, to fix it. Okay, thank you for letting me know.
Okay, excellent. Thanks so much, Malahat. If you'd like to stay on, that's great. If you need to drop off, that's okay too. I wanted to introduce Ivana Rodriguez Arias from San Mateo County Office of Education's Safe Routes to School program. She's going to go over 2 walk audits that took place in the neighborhood this past spring, and the reports were published over the summer. Just a little preface. So Mount Carmel has 6 schools, TK through 12th. That's Sequoia High, MIT, North Star, Redeemer, Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and Orion that serve nearly 4,000 students within just the half square mile that's our neighborhood. So it's a significant student population that's coming in every day. And if you've driven around the neighborhood, either at drop off or pickup times in the neighborhood or walked around, it's obviously there's a lot going on. So it's challenging. There's vehicles, bikes, pedestrians, e-scooters, e-bikes, all kinds of stuff going on. So we're thankful that we have some people who are looking into how to make that safer for cars and pedestrians and bicyclists all to sort of coexist in that space, and also encourage more families who live in the neighborhood to be able to walk to school on a regular basis and have it be safe crossing some of those that the city is actually implementing. So 2 reports. I think first you're going to go over James Avenue, and let me take back control of the screen here, and I'll just show that on. So this is the report here. This is just so the online folks can see it as well. Ivana has handed out paper copies here of the 2 reports, and I'll let her take it over from here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cameron. Hi, everyone. I'm Ivana. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. I am the Safe Routes to School Program Specialist, specifically here in Redwood City. I work closely with the Redwood City School District, Sequoia High School, but I'm always more than happy to work with any school in Redwood City and just collaborate. And yeah, I am here to talk a little bit about the James Avenue and Orion Alternative School walk audit outcomes and kind of discuss how we've been using these reports and how we can use them for the future. We did conduct these audits in the past spring semester in March, and we did receive our finalized reports this summer in mid-July. So we have shared it out to our stakeholders that were involved in the walk audit, as well as school administration of the schools that we did partner with for this these audits. And now that we're kind of at the beginning of the school year, I feel like it's the best time to kind of bring this back onto all the schools' radars. School admin, district facilities coordinator, transportation department, whoever we think that may be able to help us create these changes and improvements in our community. So yeah, I've printed out the reports for everyone. I'm briefly going to go over both just because of sake of time, and if we were to go over both reports, we'd probably be here way past 9:30. But these audits did bring together so many stakeholders in our community, including parents. We had students in attendance, school staff, school district reps, city staff, engineers. We had community leaders like PD. We had fire department in attendance as well. So I think it was a really great group that we were able to get a lot of different perspectives. And since we did, and then also Mark Fenton was actually the one who led the both walk audits, and he's a public health planning and transportation consultant, and he's pretty big in the walk audit world. If I can say so myself, it's honestly a pretty big deal that he conducted these audits with on James and around Orion. And a really big thank you to San Mateo County Office of Education for helping make this possible. They were really like that middleman between Mark and I, so they were a really big part in making this happen. And since we did conduct both walk audits in the morning during, morning drop-offs, we were able to kind of see how congestion is during those times. But we also did do some scouting before. So I think the day before both audits, we were able to kind of take note of the drop-off pick-up patterns. So after school, around both James and Orion. And we actually partnered with Redwood City Together. Not too sure if anyone knows that organization here, and San Mateo County Office of Education, as well as Stanford, our voice. And they were actually able to help us collect some preliminary data. We had some Redwood City Together staff go out in the community. They had like this app where they can take pictures and make comments to acknowledge, barriers that they face while they're walking in the community. So they did a presentation after we did our James Avenue walk audit, had some like high cost, low cost, long-term, short-term fixes that they could kind of suggest to us. And this is really helpful in so many different ways, having these partnerships, but also the walk audit and scouting. It does give us a shared understanding of what families and students are experiencing. It provides us with that preliminary data, real observations and suggestions that we can kind of use as a baseline to work from. Having partners like Stanford Our Voice, Redwood City Together, San Mateo County Office of Education helps make us work stronger for advocacy. It really does help add credibility when, we bring these findings to decision makers or to when we're applying for like funding opportunities, whether that's us or transportation or whoever it may be, to help us make these projects kind of come to life. And then it does kind of just help, build community buy-in when families and students see that their voices are being represented in these audits. It makes them want to support these efforts more and just support, participating in the solution. So I'll start talking a little bit about the James Avenue report, but when we kind of came into the workshops or kind of like after the discussions, we kind of focus on 3 categories. So to kind of intervention. So it's programs, projects, and policies, and you'll kind of see like what programs we came up with, what new policies, and what kind of projects that we came up with as well. So talking about a little bit about the James Avenue walk audit, it's really nice to have the report because the second page is literally a whole summary of everything that was reported, that was included in this report. So I'm definitely going to be referencing that right now, but a little bit of background. I know that the James Avenue area does cover Sequoia High School, McKinley, North Star, Redeemer, Our Lady of Mount Carmel. A lot of schools are in that really small area. So some of the, unsafe activities or behaviors that we acknowledge were like illegal U-turns, vehicles that were, driving in opposing lanes because they don't want to wait in that super long line of during the drop-offs, a lot of double parking. Students have been struck by vehicles in both fall 2024 and spring of 2025, so really recently. And I, am a Redwood City resident as well. I worked very close to McKinley and North Star and Sequoia, so I've personally experienced a lot of very close calls myself. And yeah, so just sharing a couple of like priority recommendations that all of stakeholders came up with during all of the discussions. So a few ideas for some programs that we're interested in kind of implementing, or if schools, parents are interested in implementing, are a progressive safety education program. So safety education for younger students, scooter, skateboard, bike skills for middle school aged youth, and then driving safety for high schoolers. And something that we've already been doing with middle schoolers is a bike safety course or a bike safety program. We've worked so far with 2 schools, Kennedy and then McKinley Institute of Technology. It's called our Spokes program, and we specifically work with socioeconomically disadvantaged youth to encourage youth to bike and use active transportation in the community. And it's a 6-week course. They get to learn about bike and pedestrian safety, how to maintain their bikes, how to safely ride out in their community. And again, we're looking to work with as many schools as we can in Redwood City, specifically middle school aged youth. But if there's any parents here who are interested in have a child in elementary school or a child in high school and are interested in starting some sort of campaign for their school, I would definitely want to be a resource to you. I know I'm a team of 1, but it's really the effort of parents and school admins to make these type of programs possible. Other program suggestions would be promoting walking and biking with assemblies, announcements, and walk and roll to school events. I've actually participated in a couple of walk to school events with Orion, as well as Clifford Elementary. I've participated at other, fun school events like at Hoover and many different schools, Sequoia High School. They're a lot of fun. It's really great to get, youth excited about active transportation. We also do share a lot of resources. If there's any school parent here who would like to kind of be that liaison between myself and, their school, if maybe they're not in the Redwood City School District, we can definitely make that happen. Yeah. Question?
Oh, I would love to meet.
Oh, of course. Feel free. I do have some business cards. I can definitely.
We're Mount Carmel parents. We live right next to Redeemer, so didn't mean to interrupt. But
oh, no worries.
We'd love to help.
Of course, I'm glad. I think it's really important that parents are definitely a big, create a big impact in trying to implement these type of programs, activities, or just planning fun walk to school day events for your school, as well as school administration. Other ideas, we're encouraging more like walking school buses and bike trains, which again, I could be a resource to helping coordinate those. Other suggestions were like dismissing pedestrians, bicyclists, and transit riders before cars to minimize congestion. I don't really know how schools would feel about that, but it's a suggestion that was made in the James Avenue walk audit report. And then just quickly going over all the other ones. I know we're short on time, but creating a transportation safety committee with parents, schools, neighborhoods, students, safe route to school representatives, where we can like facilitate like park and walk programs, launch, student and adult safety patrols, consider staggered dismissal times between grades. There's honestly a lot you can do, a lot of ideas you can, share out within your community that we can actually make a reality. And then in regards to projects and infrastructure, you can see even in the summary, there's a bunch of, different infrastructure improvements that we all suggested that Mark highlighted here. And if you are to look in the package, you'll see really detailed explanations to all of the recommendations that they create. So if there's any questions, it does go more in depth within the report. But some just to highlight would be on Elwood Avenue. An idea would be to install, yield to pedestrian signs, consider raised crosswalks, adding cycle tracks, installing like center line barriers to prevent like unsafe behaviors like U-turns, improving visibility on intersections like Brewster and Elwood, which, these are concerns that we did express here at our walk audits, but also we had the chance to have the transportation team there too. And we were sharing these concerns to them, and they've actually already done, things to improve visibility, like adding the rapid flashing beacons for people who are crossing the streets. And again, just doing intersection improvements on big areas like El Camino and Brewster, on James and Brewster. In regards to transit, some ideas were restoring Samtrans services so they can align with school schedules. Again, that's like a really big project that we have to collaborate with like Samtrans to like make that happen. Again, we do have a really good relationship with, Samtrans, like city transportation, San Mateo County Office of Education. So again, I really am a good middleman between, parents expressing concerns to me and connecting them to like, who could potentially help. And then we can kind of move into Orion's audit report. Again, Orion.
So unless I missed it, the infrastructure summary page is great, right? It's got all the little text bubbles that point out changes. The number one thing that I think is missing, I live on Graham, very close to the swirling students and everything, is the California daylighting law requires that you do not park next to within 20 feet of any marked or unmarked crosswalk. Mm-hmm. And the Sequoia students in particular that drive to school park in our neighborhood, and they park right up to the corners and around the corners everywhere. And the city, or I don't know who did it, did paint the red. This is an issue all across the state that, cities don't have a budget to do all the red paint for the daylighting. But these areas in specific, there should be some budget or collaboration with Public Works to get everything on this map around these hot spots of student activity to get that daylighting, the red curb painting done, because that impacts not only just drivers and residents, because there's crashes where people cannot see, they pull out and somebody's speeding and you've got a crash. And then, student safety is also, and bike safety and pedestrians. So that's like really low hanging fruit. Just paint.
Yeah, no, thank you for.
Oh, I see a hand from Malahat who's still on. Did you want to chime in on that?
Yes, we actually received some funding as a part of the new budget to do the daylighting around the schools and parks. So it is going to happen. And we did all the inventory of the curbs. We did have an intern, so that part is done. We just need Public Works, unfortunately, doesn't have capacity to do it, and we are going to do that through a construction bidding.
Yeah, I've noticed it's been added to Grand and Catherine, which is on the corner, the main entrance to Our Lady of Mount Carmel Elementary School. So somebody did it there. It's got the RCPD logo, so I assume it's official and not, some guerrilla thing. Because there are cities where.
Or WPD, yeah.
So
No, but yeah, that's a high level update that Malahat has provided to me too, saying that they will be prioritizing areas like around schools and downtown with like high walking rates. And something that I will also be doing, and something that I've been doing more in the North Fair Oaks area, is like doing daylighting law outreach. So currently we're kind of working on some sort of like outreach plan for more areas around schools and in Redwood City, but we kind of just go out in the community and hand out flyers, the little half sheet flyers, just letting everyone know about the daylighting law and that eventually you can get ticketed for it. I do believe that the fee is about $40. So yeah, we do have like some sort of plan to kind of do more outreach to let families and just youth. I know there's a lot of new youth drivers know about this new law, or not new, but.
So outreach to the Sequoia students, like the juniors and seniors that are all excited to drive their parents' cars to school. Those are the worst offenders, like that I see, because it's all cleared out after school lets out.
Yeah.
But until 3 o'clock every day on school days, it's just they're right up to the curbs.
Yeah,
the corners, and it's not safe.
Maybe a good idea to maybe like speak with the Sequoia principal and see like we can do some sort of like outreach in that aspect. Maybe like in a newsletter, we can include like a little announcement, letting everyone know about parking laws and all that good stuff. But that is a really good point. So thank you for
enforcement blitz and let them know when's coming and go learn fast.
Yeah. So I think it's helpful to like distribute those flyers, because we do say like we do let them know like you will be fine. I know that like PD is kind of focusing more on education right now and like making sure that they're doing like more red curbing, but eventually everyone will start getting fined. So thank you for that. And then kind of just briefly going over the Orion alternative school walk audit. As you know, Orion does face major congestion during arrival and dismissal as well, particularly around Jefferson Avenue. That's a really, really crazy section, and then Avenue del Ora and Myrtle Street as well. Jefferson is a barrier for students, who want to walk or bike. And then just some comments from, the Orion school parents and admin about some unsafe drop-off behaviors that do increase risk during school drop-off and pickup. So just talking a little bit about programs that were priority recommendations. So they do currently have a traffic safety committee, but something just that they suggested is kind of just to re-energize it. So this committee can kind of take the lead on like recruitment for like walking and biking programs, or creating a student safety and skills education program, coordinating walking school buses and bike trains, starting some sort of like park and walk program. I know we did have some students participating in this audit, which is really great. And some suggestions they had were like doing like a park and walk program from like Red Morton, which I know is kind of scary just because of all of like the scary intersections on Jefferson. But I do know that, with the project, the Jefferson Traffic Safety Project, a lot of these issues will be addressed. And then some projects and infrastructure on Jefferson Avenue, just advocating for protected bike lanes, as well as adding a median island on Myrtle Street for safe pedestrian crossing. Just in case someone can't make it all the way across, at least there's like an island in between for them to be able to, stop if needed. Adding curb extensions as well, and a median island on St. Francis Street crosswalk of Jefferson Avenue. And again, this is all highlighted. I know it's kind of just me telling you all, and it's kind of hard to visualize it, but there's actually on the back, like it shows you exactly where these projects and where we want them to be implemented. So yeah, for Jefferson Avenue, and then for Avenue del Ora, just adding a protected bike lane into the school driveway was one of the main recommendations. Relocating parking to create a more safe drop-off lane, which I don't really know how Orion will take that, but it is a consideration. Adding ADA curbs to at handicap parking, just creating safe pedestrian crosswalks at driveways. So I know there was a few that were highlighted, just adding more safety precautions at crosswalks, whether that's like hawk signals or high visibility solutions. And not too far after the walk audit, we did attend, a lot of the people who were at our audit did attend the community meeting where community members for the Jefferson Traffic Safety Project, where they kind of were able to share their input and their experiences during the walk audit. So I think that was really helpful. And a lot of, during that meeting, we had a bunch of maps that were out. So we were actually able to mark exactly where we want to see improvements. And a lot of these suggestions that we made were actually taken into account when they were doing their traffic safety project. So I think that was really great. And it kind of was like perfect timing too. And then for Myrtle Street, just adding sequential curbside, like a drop-off lane because there's 2 entrances for their school, one on Myrtle and then one on Avenue del Ora. So just adding kind of a more established drop-off lane, as well as adding intersection safety improvements on Myrtle and King and Harrison, using like speed tables, curb extensions, or mini circles. And then again, we've shared all of these infrastructure improvement suggestions with the city's transportation engineering department. We actually all had a meeting together going over all of these suggestions. So again, this is all in the city's radar for any upcoming like grants or applications, or something like, for current projects that these ideas can be tied into. So yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities to kind of create change. And then kind of just like the final thing I did want to say is, I want to emphasize how important it is for, schools and parents and just students to make these recommendations a reality. Because, a lot of suggestions are like park and walk programs or like walking school buses. But like, if it's really me, I'm like, what can I do to like get into school? It's really me connecting with parents and school admins to make these things possible. But yeah, I hopefully you guys get to, really look fully through the walk audit reports. And if there's any questions or comments that you guys want to share that, we can't maybe do right now, feel free to send me an email or a phone call. And I'm always just, a little email or phone call away. But thank you all for kind of just listening to our report and kind of where we are and what we're hoping to do with the report. And yeah, we're excited to hopefully implement some fun programs and projects into the schools.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think it's been, so as I participated in the Orion walk audit, my kids go there. I think our neighborhood is a little bit unique as well, in that all 4 elementary schools, plus the 2.5 or 1.5 junior highs, plus the high school. None of them are strictly a neighborhood school. Mm-hmm. Like the 4 elementaries are either private or schools of choice, and so they draw from all over Redwood City and further into San Carlos and elsewhere in the Bay Area even. The middle schools draw from all over Redwood City, and then the high school, of course, has a wide district too. So it's not just kids who are coming to school from within our own boundaries. There are kids coming from all over the place, and they're crossing major streets and stuff. And so it's I think really crucial to have these kinds of assessments, and then also the help of the city in terms of looking at how those students get to and from school from across the entire city. So yeah, it's been, I'm appreciating the holistic approach, and I hope that they really do implement a lot of the stuff that's in some of these reports.
Yeah, no, I think I appreciate it so much. And again, want to emphasize, I'm here to be used as a resource. If your school or you're a parent and is interested in starting something, I'm more than happy to, help you put your foot in the door and get started on anything. So thank you all so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Any questions before we move on? I think the next step we'll kind of go through pretty quickly and then adjourn. But anybody have any questions for Safe Routes folks or for Malahat while she's still on? Yeah.
Why don't we have those major crosswalks lined up like they do over on coming down Hudson? That one that's there, that lights up all the major ones by the schools.
Yeah.
Bring the attention, but like it's quite when they're getting out of school and you're coming down westbound, coming off of James, those kids, they just drop the line too, and you can go and another one jumps. Well, they put a light in there like that lights up. They got to push a button or something to it, and they got to wait until maybe there's a few more, give it a few 30 seconds or something, where they can all pilot and then cross the streets. They're just, they're just going between traffic. And then you got the electric bikes going crazy through here like this, pulling wheelies and doing stuff. And if you do the bike lanes, does that include the electric bikes in there? That's another thing that's, what are you gonna do? Those guys, they do whatever they want to do. I'm not Jefferson, they're just going right between, you're slowing down. And I like that flashing red light they have on Jefferson right now across, right?
Yeah.
The hawk signal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, half the people don't even know what flashing red means.
Go through it, right.
You know, and then you go down like Hudson, without that one street, you know, that one crosswalk lights up real nice, and you know there's somebody across the street. That's what they should do by all the schools then. The easiest way there, you know, these big signs, this or that, just bring the attention right there to the crosswalk.
I think, I mean, a lot of those comments focused on Jefferson, and I think they're all relevant. Malahat is the best way to, I mean, is there a place, besides the October 8th meeting, is there a place to submit suggestions, comments and stuff about Jefferson?
You can email me, if I recall, as part of this project, you can email me directly. As part of this project, we are adding what we call it hawk or beacon, similar to the one we have on Clinton. As part of the Jefferson project, we are adding one on King, one on Ruby, I think. And we are still thinking about Adams. And so we are adding 3 beacons along the corridor. The comment about bikes, electric bikes can go very fast. We are actually almost done with updating our city code to a very new set of rules and regulations related to electric devices and bikes, speed limit, which areas they cannot go. It is ready to go to City Council. We've been working with our police department on that, and that's an issue that we see more and more these days. So, yeah. So it has been under work for more than a year. It is just ready to go to City Council. It will be again a public hearing because we are completely changing our Chapter 8 of City Codes to incorporate all these electric devices and safety and what is required and the speed limit and all of that.
Any follow-up to that, or?
It's hard for me to hear everything she's saying. So.
Yeah. Malahat, do you know when it's going to council or when the public hearing will be?
For the bikes, it is in the queue. Honestly, it is ready to go. We wanted to have it on September 29th. It's just a matter of coordination with our city attorney's office.
Okay.
Hopefully it will be sometime in October, but public hearings, usually we do a first hearing and then we do a second hearing, and then it is in place after 30 days of the second hearing. But yeah, in October, I'm hopeful that in October it's just the workload of our legal team. It is done. The drafting and everything is done and complete right now.
Okay. So it sounds like some of those changes that you're talking, or some of those requests that you're talking about, are going into the Jefferson design with different signal crossings. Others probably would be good to convey some of those during the public comment period, either on October 8th or emailing Malahat directly. And then in terms of the e-bikes and stuff, it sounds like that's going for the city before the council pretty soon. And I don't know if, Chris, do you want to say anything? Have you guys seen any draft of that or anything yet, or is that okay?
I have a comment on the hawk signals. This gentleman mentioned, I think alluded to the people, somebody said they don't know what to do, some people. And my question is, why not just use a regular traffic light? Everybody understands what that is. They don't, they're a dime a dozen, and you can just stay on green until somebody pushes the button. And everybody knows what to do when it turns yellow and red. And so, instead of this confusion or training issue, it's unclear to me why Caltrans or the city both have decided to use these hawk things. That it's a little confusing, right? Because at a train crossing, 2 red flashing lights alternating like that, a wigwag signal means to stop, and then we have a different meeting for the hot signals. So is there any reason why we're using those? I mean, are they cheaper or what's
They
the
are way cheaper. A full traffic signal right now is about $1 million. In 2020, when we installed the new signal at Cleveland intersection, that was almost 1 million. The James intersection now our estimate is on 1.3 million. They're very expensive. And the other thing is the way the traffic signals are installed, there is a calculation. So it needs to be warranted, and it really depends on the volume of the traffic on Main Street and Crossing Street. That is why it is not warranted at every intersection. Um, it has a calculation. It's based on some state standards, and the other reason it is very expensive.
Okay, well, we can talk offline, but the infrastructure, the actual equipment is no different in cost. I know it's more expensive because you have the traffic controller, you have to have sensing.
Yes.
For a regular traffic light intersection, I get that. I'm talking about places where they're using hawks, it is dirt simple. It's literally connected to a demand, a button. It doesn't have to do any traffic sensing whatsoever. So, I mean, but the amount of infrastructure, the pole and the lights and everything is the same as with the traffic light. So anyway, I don't want to take up more time with it, but thanks for the response.
Okay. Any other questions before we move on? Thank you to Safe Routes folks. Yeah.
Can we go through copies here briefly?
Great, thanks. All right, very briefly, we're going to go through the last items on the agenda here and wrap by 9:30. So a brief update on the new Veterans Memorial Senior Center. So we're sitting in the old Veterans Memorial Senior Center. The new one is 95% finished. It's on track for grand opening by the end of this year. That's the update that I got from Parks and Rec this week, but I know that they're looking for another update in October to make sure that that is in fact the case. We shall see, but I think that there's a lot of progress going on, and hopefully, maybe not next quarterly meeting, but the meeting after will be in the new center, and I will send out information if anything gets updated. I think they're going to have an update, like I said, at the next Parks and Rec Commission meeting next month. Yeah.
So isn't the YMCA part like a second phase or something?
Yeah.
I'm not clear on it, but I think the pool and all that stuff, so that it can move off of Hudson and come over here.
Yeah, that's right.
To a modern facility, that's a completely separate phase, right?
Yeah, and I believe they're sequential. So once that's done, then they are going to tear out this building that we're in, and this will become the YMCA. Yeah, okay. Exactly. But I don't think they can start that until that one's done because of all that stuff that's here.
So many more years.
Yeah.
Because I think this is way over schedule, right? This is taking a long time.
Yeah. Part of that was COVID, and part of that was lawsuits with the contractor and a number of things, but it's almost done. I wanted to point out a couple of things the city sent out notices about recently. The Art Advisory Work Group has an application deadline coming up if you want to be on the working group. So this is something that's due on Friday. If you know people who are artistic in your lives who want to be on this advisory board for the Chan Zuckerberg initiative. Art Advisory Group, specifically serving Redwood City. I think the link is in the link is on the agenda that I sent out. Please forward this to people to apply. The next one is, I know that the city is putting out a lot of notice about, is the Community Building Academy. So these applications are due on September 1st. Participants meet with city staff, they visit departments, they gain tools and relationships that they need to become more involved in civic life. There is a participation fee involved, but of $50, but there are scholarships available, and it's for people who want to become more involved with the city. maybe a precursor to sitting on a commission or being more involved with the city in some way. Anything to add to that, Darren?
Yeah, so it's open to people that are Redwood City residents, people that work in Redwood City or have some kind of like connection. And also we have a couple spots open for youth. So anyone that's 16 years or older are also welcome to apply.
Great. Then I wanted to point out, I've told several people about this recently, and we've also benefited from it from National Night Out event, but there is a community improvement reimbursement program, CIRP, that the city does. If you want to throw a block party or host a park cleanup or another community meeting or something that improves our community, any resident can apply for a grant of up to $300 from the city in order to do a community improvement project. It's the way that we funded the barbecue for National Night Out. It's the way that I think a lot of park cleanups and those kinds of things happen. It's a very easy form to fill out. I can show it's on the website here and linked in the agenda as well. But I would highly encourage people to apply. They're very responsive about getting back, and there are funds available for people to do stuff within the neighborhood. You can also, I think, stack them so that there are multiple people who, want to throw a larger event or something like that. There's funding available for it. They'll also, Parks and Rec will also help with street closures and things like that, lending equipment and games and stuff. If you want to throw a block party and close down the street, they're very amenable to a lot of that stuff. And then lastly, on sort of these updates, is the My Redwood City app. Always like to plug this. If you're not familiar with it, Adrian was talking about it earlier as well. It's an app for Redwood City that very easily allows you to just tag something that's, a sign that's down or a bench that's fallen over or trash that's on the side of the road, snap a picture of it, geolocate it, and within a day or two, usually somebody's out to take a look at it. Just had a neighborhood watch sign that had fallen down in my neighborhood last week or 2 weeks ago, and it was fixed, within the week. So it's they're very responsive. It's a great way to just tag stuff that's going on in the city, and I've been really impressed with it.
They're good with street lights. If there's a really bad, unsafe sidewalk condition or pavement condition, whatever, just about anything.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions on any of that stuff? No? All right. So we don't have a whole lot of time left, but any other topics that anybody wanted to bring up or just suggestions for what we do for next meeting, which nominally is going to be November? Well, if you think of something, let me know. I would like to structure these around some kind of focus topic area. So like we did for tonight with transportation projects in the neighborhood, if there's some other, project, we could have Parks Commission out, we could have some other department come in and talk about projects that they have going on or something along those lines. Next meeting, I'm expecting in November. Like I said, I think maybe the week of November 17th. That's tentative. I got to talk to Darren about scheduling to get a room and stuff like that. But generally going to try to aim for these this sort of time slot and middle of the week. Try to do I'll see kind of what the response is from hybrid meeting tonight. We didn't get a huge turnout online, but it was helpful to be able to have Malahat here who would not have been able to participate otherwise. So we'll try to continue that for at least a couple. If you have nominations for topics or anything, please, send me a note. My email is cam.matthews@gmail. You can send me an email there and I'll get right back to you. Cool. Thank you guys so much for coming out.
Thanks for organizing.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for setting it up, Darren.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was available because I think I still would have come, but maybe more prominently let people know because it's easier, if they're busy and have kids or something,
Yeah, will do. All right. Do you need to end the meeting here or is there